In the women's basketball greatness timeline, nestled between Lisa Leslie and Asia Wilson, you'll find Candace Parker, a literal phenom that was winning dunk contests as a teenager. Before positionless basketball was a trend, she was already it. Before versatility became the archetype, she was the prototype. From the moment she stepped on a high school court, people knew something special was happening. Coming from a basketball family, it's easier to see where the innate IQ and fundamental skills were celebrated and adopted early by Parker. In high school, she was already one of the tallest on the court. She already had the footwork after switching from soccer to basketball. She had the handles after being trained at home, drill after drill, by her father. And she had a nice pull-up game, probably playing one-on-one against her brother. This was a 6'4" center who could lead the fast break, an out-of-position guard that could block and get you rebounds, a young player with the vision to find the open shooter and have the length to pick your pocket. And with all this, she could read the floor almost from any position. So it was no surprise when she led her high school to 2 state titles, averaging nearly 23 points a game and 13 rebounds. She wasn't just a McDonald's All-American, she won the dunk contest against the likes of someone like J.R. Smith. She may just be the first recorded high school dunk by a female athlete, and she was only 15 years old.
And I recorded it, thank goodness.
There was a steal, and she got ahead of the group. We both stood up because we knew what she was going to try. The whole gym erupted. First time that I'm sure everybody had ever seen a woman dunk, especially a high school girl.
She was Illinois Naismith Prep and Gatorade Player of the Year, making her resume even more impressive because some of these awards were up against male athletes. So on top of all the awards you can think of, she became the first woman to announce her college commitment on live television.
Attending the University of Tennessee.
Under the legendary Pat Summitt. Candace goes into the University of Tennessee listed as a guard, forward, and center. Now she was dealing with a lingering knee injury, so she was allowed to redshirt for Tennessee, given a year to rehab and ultimately still be a part of the team before officially suiting up.
Comfortable in Knoxville and finally healthy, Parker returned to a team that was good enough to reach the Final Four in 2005 without her. She added a new dimension and won SEC Rookie of the Year. She saw the floor like a point guard and eventually became known as one of the best facilitating forwards the game has ever seen.
Candace Parker was a nearly perfect combination of born with it talent, skillfully nurtured through her fundamentals, and expertly coached into a professional. She helped lead the Lady Vols to 2 NCAA championships after a breakout rookie season. She was the first woman to dunk in an NCAA tournament game, while becoming the first Lady Vol to score 1,000 points. She won Most Outstanding Player in both tournaments, and most say she could have won a third if she hadn't gotten into foul trouble in a regional finals game during her freshman year, adding her to a legendary list of Cheryl Miller, Diana Taurasi, and Chamique Holtzclaw. Going into Tennessee, she had pretty much perfected the fundamentals. Now, after years of legendary coaching, she knew her spots and could get to them. She figured out how to play and make an impact even if the scouting report was all about her.
She dislocated her shoulder during the Elite Eight right after a stretch where she had scored Tennessee's last 16 points. No big deal. She came back with a brace, led the Lady Vols to a comeback win, and then gutted out 2 more games to hoist another trophy.
Pat Summitt taught her how to hone that special power, how to play in a system while also being the system. She was already a professional player before reaching the pros, and if you didn't realize it then, you most definitely saw it during her rookie season in the WNBA. Foregoing her last year of college eligibility, Parker would go into the WNBA draft and be selected #1 overall just a day after winning her last NCAA title. Headed to the Los Angeles Sparks, she not only was about to change a franchise and a league, but lift up women's basketball as a whole. In her debut game against the Phoenix Mercury, she scored 34 points, secured 12 rebounds, and grabbed 8 assists. A rookie debut game record that still exists to this day. And then less than 10 days later, she would record a 5x5 stat line, scoring 16 points, 16 rebounds, 6 blocks, 5 assists, and 5 steals. And this is coming in as a rookie. What else could she do? Well, she could become the second woman in WNBA history to dunk in a regulation game, and then take it a step further and dunk twice. And then she followed that up with a 40-point game against the Houston Comets. Literally still one of the best rookie seasons in WNBA history. Okay, and you can't talk about Candace Parker's rookie season without talking about the fight. So the Los Angeles Sparks and the Detroit Shock got into a brawl just a few months into Parker's rookie season. So many players were involved, they were calling it the Malice at the Palace 2. Now, before the actual fight, the buildup came from a box out from a hard-fought rebound that Candace Parker grabbed, but Cheryl Ford stripped the ball out of her hands. Emotions high, Parker fouled her and almost started it right there, but Lisa Leslie stepped in. So on the other end, after a different free throw, Lynette Pearson did a hard box out on Candace Parker, pretty much with both of them ending up on the ground. Now when Parker tried to get up, Pearson walked into her, knocking her back onto the ground, and that's when everything broke loose. They each threw punches, both teams got involved, multiple players leave their bench, throw punches, assistant coaches get involved, and ultimately the league loses Cheryl Ford for the remainder of that season. But Candace Parker only receives a 1-game suspension and the season moves on. Now this was also one of those years where the Olympics interrupted the WNBA season and Candace Parker would participate in the 2008 Olympics. But the Sparks weren't really doing much, it was really just her and Lisa Leslie, so there wasn't a lot going on in the playoffs, but she would walk away with Rookie of the Year and MVP for the 2008 WNBA season, the only player to do so in WNBA history. And with that much build up and payoff for her rookie season, everyone was looking forward to her sophomore season. But greatness isn't without its struggle. Injuries tested her body, critics tested her patience, and life off the court tested her heart. Motherhood, team changes, and the pressure of being the face of women's basketball did take its toll. And again, we're still looking at a pretty weak Sparks team overall. This isn't a heavy loaded team just waiting on their X factor to get back. So as much as Parker will go through years of trouble just staying on the court, the Sparks as a whole will go through multiple changes before she would see a full season. She would end up missing the first 8 games of the 2009 season after giving birth to her daughter. In 2010, she only played 10 games and was sidelined after a shoulder injury. In 2011, she found out she had a torn meniscus in her right knee, ending that season. So by the time we got to 2012, everyone was ready for a full, healthy season from Candace Parker. And she lived up to the hype again, leading her team all the way to the conference finals. And after such a great season, she was poised for more in 2013. Averaging almost 18-9 that season, she would become an All-Star and earn All-Star MVP, as well as regular season MVP, giving the Sparks even more momentum going into the playoffs. They would make it one step further than the previous year, making it all the way to the semifinals. Over the next few years, the Los Angeles Sparks would retool in the background, while Candace Parker played some of her best professional basketball, leading the league in rebounds and assists during the 2015 season. So by 2016, all the pieces were there. She played and started in every game that season, averaged 15 points a game, and actually went down in rebounds, almost like the team was figuring out where everyone needed to be to get this championship. This was one of the seasons where the top 2 teams got a bye to the semifinals, so you were pretty much guaranteed to see them meet in the finals. So you saw the Los Angeles Sparks go up against the Minnesota Lynx, right in the blaze of their dynasty run. A gritty best-of-5 series. It was a hard-fought battle. They stole game 1 with the help of Elena Beard. The Minnesota Lynx wiped them out in game 2. And by the time you got to game 5, they were neck and neck down the stretch in the 4th. The Sparks were able to pull this out on a putback by Neko Ogumake with barely any time left on the clock. And Candace Parker secures her first championship win, dedicating that season and that win to the late Coach Summit.
All the personal and professional disappointments this year. What does this moment mean to you?
This is for Pat. This is for Pat.
It was a hard-fought moment after years of injuries and just trying to stay on the floor, changing personnel, and finding that balance between personal greatness and team success. Now, the Sparks would try again in 2017, but ultimately lose to those red-hot Lynx. By 2019, we were back to hearing injury reports. A hamstring injury had her starting the season late, and the team was out by the semifinals. During the 2020 Wubble season, she did win Defensive Player of the Year, which is usually voted on by the media, but she didn't make a defensive team that year, which is usually voted on by the coaches. So there was some friction there between Candace and the league. That was pretty much apparent. By the end of the 2020 season, Parker will be a free agent, but she was also honored as one of the top 20 at 20 for the WNBA, just adding to her collection of awards and legacy-defining moments. Taking her talents to Chicago, she was definitely looking for a championship. And while she tipped the scale in the favor for the Sky, this was already a team touting Kalia Copper, Sydney Colson, Gabby Williams, Courtney Vandersloot, Cheyenne Parker, so this was already a loaded team. By the time Candace Parker joins, she's just retooling it. So they add a Lexi Brown, a Stephanie Dolson, a rookie Dana Evans, just to beef up this team. But now you've added Candace Parker. They were already leading the East without Parker, so once you add Candace Parker to that team, you most definitely have a championship contender. And that's what they did in 2021. So after some chemistry issues left them with the 6th seed in the league, they won their single elimination games, upset the Connecticut Sun, and beat the Phoenix Mercury in the finals.
People who saw you play when you were a little kid, they're here watching you now. How does that feel?
It feels amazing. I mean, my high school coach is here. I know Pat's watching. I mean, I got the whole city here. We got the whole city here. And it's just amazing how Chicago supports. I mean, we're champions for life now.
So it was a good storyline for the hometown kid. She came home, helped them win the championship, and now she was on to the next story because she had only signed a 2-year deal with Chicago. So that was telling from the beginning. By the time you roll into her next free agency, she signed with the Las Vegas Aces, who kind of like the Sky were already beefing up their team to win a championship. They were just waiting on that last piece. And the Aces definitely grabbed it with Candace Parker. The team looked very strong in all 18 games that Candace played, but she did have another injury pop up. She had to have surgery on her foot. So she did participate in the season, but she didn't play in any of the playoffs, where the Aces went on to win that championship against the New York Liberty. Now, she was still signed to the Las Vegas Aces in 2024, but ultimately did not play in that season and announced her retirement in April, where she has since taken multiple analyst roles and an executive position with Adidas, staying around the game she loves. Candace Parker has actually had one of the best basketball careers in history, male or female, but is somewhat marred by the timing in which her career took place. She was too great too early. I mean, it would literally be a head-to-head battle between her and A'ja Wilson if this was happening today. But she's had such a storied career. Outside of her WNBA success, she's had USA basketball success, participating in Olympic and FIBA competition since as early as 2006, winning 2 gold medals in 2008 and 2012. She's participated in multiple international leagues as well. She's a 5-time champion in the Russia League. She's won an MVP in the Euro League. She's won with Fenerbahce. She's got multiple accolades in the Chinese League. She's played on almost every continent in front of almost every fan base. And on top of all this, being the face of the WNBA for a handful of years, a 7-time All-Star, 3-time block leader, her number 3 has been retired by the Tennessee Lady Vols, the Chicago Sky, and the LA Sparks. She'll be inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame with the class of 2026. She left her mark and legacy all over women's basketball. Today you can find her at Adidas as their president of women's basketball, as well as lending her presence to help usher in leagues like Unrivaled at the analyst desk. She's inspired some of the best to pick up a basketball and fall in love with the game. You can see her influence in players like A'ja Wilson, Nafisa Collier, and Breanna Stewart. And with that, we'll see her impact and influence ripple through women's basketball forever.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, players.